And tonight, a 14-year-old has been arrested and charged with manslaughter, accused of accidentally killing a 4-month-old Tuesday afternoon. Logan police say this all happened at an apartment near Lehigh in North Knoxville when a group of young people there were playing with a gun that eventually went off, striking little Jakari Jones. And LPD says what happened there could have been prevented because this is a real tragedy for everyone involved.
Absolutely, and that's why a local gun store manager is encouraging owners to prioritize firearm safety. KLBK's Elizabeth Fitz joining us now. Elizabeth, you spoke with this gentleman today, but he wasn't just an employee there as a general manager. He had more to say.
Right, Terry. Izzy Mooskies is first and foremost a parent, so he understands the ramifications of having guns in the house, and his 11-year-old son does too. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with owning guns, regardless of whether or not you have kids.
We hear a lot of stories of just negligent discharges, people cleaning guns and accidentally shooting a hole in their roof, or they pull a firearm out of their vehicle that they've had in there for a while and accidentally shoot a hole in the floorboard or something like that because they didn't know it was loaded. So that goes back to the golden rule: regardless, any firearm, you need to treat it as it's loaded.
There's a lot that goes into gun ownership.
Gun safety doesn't discriminate against anyone. There's some simple rules that need to be followed all the time, and that's just as a gun owner, period. And then of course there has to be a little more due diligence if you're a parent and you're raising your kids around firearms. So there has to be a little more precaution to what you teach your kids.
Izzy Mooskies is the GM of Sharpshooters and the father to an 11-year-old boy.
If you've made that decision to raise your kids in a household that has firearms, then it's upon you to make sure that your kids have that knowledge of gun safety.
He recommends having frequent conversations, setting strict boundaries, and having protocols when friends visit.
I think the minute that we were out of the realm of being able to control what he was going to get into, then we started teaching him, the differences between, a firearm and a Nerf gun. And we were very, very explicit about that. This is a real gun, you're not allowed to touch it without, some sort of supervision.
And if you'd like to own a gun, he says you should know how to do it safely.
Actually, there's several outlets that will offer that. NSSF will do some, NRA. If you just look up, we have an instructor here. There's probably, there's 2 or 3 other local gun shops and local indoor ranges here in town that probably offer some sort of basic handgun manipulation or basic handgun safety or training.
Mooskies says having safeguards in place can cost as little as $1, and trigger locks like this and those akin to it, Terry, I'll have you hold it up. I don't want to touch it. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's unloaded, everything, nothing in it. But this also, keep your guns like this, unloaded, nothing in the chamber. That way you lock it up, keep your bullets and everything else in a separate locked box, but always lock these things up to make sure that it's safe for the kids or anyone who does not know the ramifications of playing with a gun.
And also, always assume your gun is loaded. You never know. So,
for sure.
And we'll have more resources for you on firearm safety over on our website, everythinglubbock.com, after the show.